right, Steelers Nation, things just got real. Aaron Rodgers is officially the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the front office isn't wasting any time showing that they mean business. After bringing in DK Metcalf to headline the Hash wide receiver group, Pittsburgh is on the hunt for yet another offensive weapon to complete this new-look attack. And let me tell you, the message is clear. They're not settling, they're aiming high. Today we're diving deep into the latest wide receiver rumors, trade buzz, free agent whispers, and everything in between. We'll walk through the top tier names, the realistic targets, and even some of the fallback options that could end up making more sense than you'd think. So first, let's take a good look at what the Steelers already have in the wide receiver room going into this upcoming season. If the team doesn't make another move, the projected rotation includes DK Metcalf, who of course is the alpha dog, the go-to guy. Robert Woods would likely slide in for early down work. He brings veteran leadership, solid blocking ability, and the kind of reliability you want when you need a safe catch over the middle. Then there's Calvin Austin III, who brings speed and explosiveness. He isn't much of a blocker, but on passing downs, he's a guy who can take the top off a defense, run crisp routes, and turn a short catch into a big gain with that yards after catch burst. And finally, you've got Roman Wilson as a slot. Specialist, shifty, tough, and dependable. Beyond that, things start to thin out a bit. There's Ben Skowronek, who's mostly a blocker and special teams contributor. Scotty Miller and Brandon Johnson round out the depth, but realistically, none of those guys are striking fear into opposing defenses. What Pittsburgh needs now is someone who can take Robert Woods' early down role, but with more juice. Someone with size, the ability to block in the run game, and crucially, someone who can run a full route tree. Why does that last part matter so much? Because we're talking about Aaron Rodgers here. This is a quarterback who thrives on autonomy at the line of scrimmage. He loves making checks, calling hot routes, and relying on receivers who can pick up subtle cues and adjust on the fly. That's why Pittsburgh can't afford to pair Rodgers with another limited route runner. DK Metcalf has plenty of strengths, but he's not exactly known for running every route in the playbook. So whoever the Steelers bring in next needs to be savvy, versatile, and capable of reading the defense the same way Rodgers does. So let's start with the big fish, the dream targets. These are the guys who might not be easy to pry away from. They're current teams, but if the door cracks open, the Steelers absolutely have to be ready to pounce. First up, Terry McLaurin. This is the name you're hearing everywhere from Steelers fans, and for good reason. He's tough, consistent, and checks every box you want from a wide receiver. Now, would the Commanders actually make him available? Probably not. But if Washington even entertains the idea, Pittsburgh should be on the phone offering a second-round pick without hesitation. Maybe not a first, but a second? That's a price worth paying. Next up, Chris Olave. Now this one is a little trickier. The Saints don't appear to be shopping him, but that hasn't stopped the Steelers from doing their homework. If Olave becomes available, you're talking about one of the cleanest route runners in the league. Exactly the type of receiver Rodgers would build instant chemistry with. It's unlikely, but it's worth tracking. Then you've got the Indianapolis Colts and a trio of receivers who could make sense. Michael Pittman Jr. is a polished possession receiver, great at winning the short to intermediate game. Alec Pierce, on the other hand, brings more vertical juice and a big body. And then there's Adonai Mitchell, who's full of potential but has some off-the-field concerns. The Colts likely won't want to break up their group, especially after investing in Mitchell. But if one of those guys shakes loose, Pittsburgh should absolutely be involved. But let's be honest, those names are long shots. Fun to dream about, sure, but not something you can build a plan around. So let's talk about the names that are actually gettable. The guys that the Steelers could reasonably add to their roster without giving up the farm. First on that list, Romeo Doubs. Now this one makes a ton of sense. He's still young, just 25, and he's already shown he can play in a run-heavy play-action system in Green Bay. That means he's used to blocking, understands spacing, and knows how to work with a quarterback like Rodgers. He's not a superstar, but his route running is solid. He's got quick feet, and he's got experience with Rodgers already from their time together in 2022. That's huge. Chemistry matters. If the price is right, Romeo Doubs could be a perfect fit. Now let's shift to the veteran free agent market. Two big names stand out right away, Amari Cooper and Keenan Allen. Both are seasoned pros who still have plenty left in the tank. Cooper is smooth, technical, and can win outside or in the slot. He's been productive everywhere he's gone. Allen, meanwhile, might not be the fastest guy anymore, but his route running is still top tier. He's a master at getting open and reading coverages, the kind of guy Rodgers would love to work with on third down. Neither of them would come cheap, but compared to chasing a trade for a McLaurin or Olave, they're a lot more realistic. And how about Jalen McMillan? This is one of the younger guys that could be available via trade. The Buccaneers drafted him, and he had a strong rookie season. But with the additions of Emeka Egbuka and Tez Johnson, not to mention established stars like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin already in the mix, Tampa Bay might be open to moving McMillan for the right price. If that's the case, Pittsburgh should absolutely pick up the phone. Another veteran who might not be the flashiest name, but still brings value, Adam Thielen. He's 34 now, but he hasn't lost his football IQ. He knows how to find space. He's a dependable hands catcher, and he runs clever routes. He can still contribute, especially as a chain mover or red zone option. And remember, the Steelers showed interest in Thielen at last year's trade deadline. Don't be surprised if that name pops back up. But maybe you're wondering, what if none of the top tier or mid-tier guys pan out? What if Pittsburgh has to dig a little deeper into the market? That brings us to the third tier, the not ideal but could work group. These are players who might not be full-time starters or long-term solutions, but who bring enough upside or specific traits to contribute right away. Dontavion Wicks, for instance, is an intriguing name. He's tough, blocks well, and runs decent routes. He's got a physical style that could mesh well with Arthur Smith's offensive philosophy. His hands are a bit shaky at times, and there's a drop issue to consider, but if you're looking for someone with grit and potential, Wicks is worth a look. Trey Palmer is another name to know. He's not a big guy, only about 190 pounds, but he's one of the fastest receivers in the league. That speed makes him a vertical threat, and he's got some wiggle after the catch too. He's been showing more willingness to block, which is important in this offense. Reports say the Steelers have already made inquiries about him, so clearly there's interest. John Mechie is another under-the-radar name. He hasn't quite broken out yet, but he fits the mold of what Pittsburgh seems to be looking for. Polished roots, good hands, willing blocker. He could be a solid contributor if given the opportunity. Jalen Coker from the Panthers is in that same category. Solid fundamentals, good size, reliable hands. Maybe not a game changer, but someone who can round out a receiving group. Now, let's talk about a familiar face to Aaron Rodgers, Allen Lazard. Yeah, look, he's not going to blow anyone away, but he has chemistry with Rodgers, and if he's available for something like a 7th round pick, why not? He knows the signals, the playbook, the pace Rodgers wants. That alone has some value. And then there's Gabe Davis. He's had some big-time moments with the Bills, playoff production, explosive plays, all of that. But last season wasn't kind to him. Injuries and inconsistent quarterback play made him a bit of a disappointment. Still, he's big, he's fast, and the Steelers reportedly brought him in for a visit. If the price is right, he could be a low-risk, high-reward addition. Now you might have heard that the Steelers are also poking around the tight end market. Names like Jonnu Smith and Kyle Pitts have come up. And while it's clear Pittsburgh is open to adding a weapon, any weapon, I just don't see it being a tight end. Jonnu Smith had a nice year in Miami, but the price tag is probably too high. Kyle Pitts? Look, he's still young, but the production hasn't matched the hype. If Atlanta really wants a day 2 pick for him, I'm out. That just doesn't line up with what he's shown on tape. If they go the tight end route, Jonnu makes more sense, but overall, it feels like the Steelers are going to stick to wide receivers. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. As whispers turn into a full-blown roar, the NFL world is abuzz with unconfirmed reports emanating from the usually tight-lipped New York Jets organization. Sources close to the team, speaking on condition of anonymity, suggest that a candid moment from quarterback Aaron Rodgers may have been inadvertently overheard, sending shockwaves through the league. The alleged remark, a startling admission of regret regarding his decision to join the Pittsburgh Steelers. This revelation, if true, would be nothing short of seismic. Rodgers, who eventually made his way to the Jets, was heavily courted by several franchises before his eventual move. The Steelers were consistently named as a top contender for his services, and the thought of the future Hall of Famer in black and gold captivated the imaginations of many. The current buzz implies that perhaps in a moment of reflection, or even frustration, Rodgers may have voiced a sentiment suggesting he believed his career trajectory might have been different, or even more fulfilling, had he chosen the Steel City over the bright lights of New York. It's crucial to emphasize that these are currently unsubstantiated rumors, a mere ripple in the vast ocean of NFL speculation. The context of such a statement, if indeed it was made, is entirely unknown. Was it a casual comment, a fleeting thought, or a deeper reflection on past choices? Without further clarification, it remains a tantalizing what if for fans and analysts alike. The implications, however, are immense. For the Jets, it could be seen as a vote of confidence in their current path, or perhaps a subtle hint of past doubts that have since been overcome. For the Steelers, it would be a bittersweet echo of a missed opportunity, a reminder of what could have been. And for Rodgers himself, it paints a picture of a player who, despite his immense success, continues to ponder the roads not taken. As the offseason progresses, this particular rumor is sure to fuel countless debates and discussions, adding another layer of intrigue to the already captivating narrative of one of the NFL's most enigmatic figures. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.